These all feature my sitar playing.
Wow.
And in some cases also my arranging, my musical arranging. Because Indian music is a special thing.
Yeah.
Going back to your point, you know, you asked, what's happened to African music?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with that. What's happened to African food? Like, what happened? The traditions in that country are not appreciated because that country always wants to get McDonald's. It wants to get this. It wants to, the latest thing coming from outside. Same thing happened in India. You know, that people completely forgot the richness of their own culture and the richness of their music. If you look at the Bollywood films, they're grabbing from the cheapest kind of naff kind of rock and roll and bubblegum stuff. And you realize, hold on, their music is so incredible. Why are they going to these other music sources? Because they're new. What's happened with Ugandan music? They borrowed from South Africa.
Oh, yeah.
You know, all those different rhythms that were popularized by people with having drum machines. And they thought, that's a new sound, so they use it. They never went back to their old traditions of those incredible cross rhythms on the drums.
Yeah.
And they never thought, oh, well, let's get that and make some really good rock and roll songs from it. The thinking doesn't exist like that. It takes someone from the outside
Yeah.
going in there and saying, hold on a second.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, what you've got is amazing. Why don't you draw from that? And then you draw from it and they go, yeah. They get it.
You see, I've played I'm self-taught saxophonist, and I've played for a while. I've done gigs in the city and all that. But until 2007, when I went back to Uganda and performed, and guys were like, "Where did you grow up?" You know, it's until it came in a different way. And what I did is I played songs that they knew, they've had before. We've grown up hearing them and singing them with drums. So I just put a bit of jazz into it so that they understand that this is our thing. And I mention this to most of the musicians that I host on the show. And I say, whatever we do, let's try to keep our culture. Because that's the only way we are going to bridge a gap between our forefathers and the next generation. If we don't carry it to the next generation, what the next generation is going to pick up on will be an American culture.
That's right.
And I stress it. So if I met someone like you who thinks that our culture is rich, and you can say it in a different way, from a different perspective, I would treasure that.
Good.
Because
it's really good to hear you say all
believe
this.
it,
This is fantastic to hear. Let me give you an example of somebody who went to India and showed the world how amazing Indian music is. George Harrison. The Beatles.
Wow.
And what happened? He got Indian musicians, got them to London. They did the song on Sgt. Pepper's, one of the biggest selling albums of all time, next to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. One of the hugest Indian musicians on the floor playing this melody with George singing, "We were talking about the space between us all," like that. And everyone goes, what is that music? Everyone around the world. They discovered Indian classical music through an Englishman going to India and saying, you guys have great music. We're going to put it in on one of our albums.
Wow.
That's an analogy. That's it. I'm giving you examples
Yeah.
of how it happens.
Yeah.
Now, what did Paul Simon do when he went to South Africa? So it's for those of us that understand the richness of the world's music cultures, you know, and it's our responsibility, as like you've taken responsibility to open people's eyes, to also open people's eyes, you know, and it's a joy. And more it happens, we're going to see a transformation of the world's music. It's already happening. Look at the Olympic ceremonies. Amazing. Look at these big cultural events where they got Bulgarian music in, and they have the tuba throat singers come up, and Russian music, and everyone's going, this is incredible. But that music has existed for thousands of years.
Truth of the matter is, I think that the globe or the world gets this localization in the modernity process, where the influence of the stronghold swallows the other, if you understand what I mean. influence of the American culture, be it in Japan, China, South Africa, Africa,
all throughout Europe as well, yeah.
where you think the good thing is what comes from America. And that's why it's exciting for me to talk to an American right now. And he says, last year I hosted a gentleman in the U.S., a gentleman called, he's a hip hop artist, and he said, on behalf of America, I apologize. I found it so funny, but it was touching because he expressed what he thought about how rich still our music is, but we cannot take it because it's music that we're talking about, but it's culture. Generally speaking, it's culture. It's the way we dress, the way we talk, the way we think, the way we, so it reflects easily through music.
Yeah.
But the truth is, especially for the young people, if we don't say it to them, they're not going to be interested. And yet those are the people that have the hands for tomorrow.
That's right.
They're the people who have to be interested. And you'll be surprised. Our kids today, most of them don't even know the language. Because that's how strong the American culture has come. That it is more fashionable for our kids to know English than to know our local language. So what's going to happen 15 years from now? You see the fear of that.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
much as we're speaking about music,
It's culture.
we're also speaking more about culture.
Yeah.
Because the only, and I say it again and again, that the only way we can carry our culture and maintain it is through art. It could be the paintings, it could be the crafts, it could be music.
Yeah. And songs and stories.
And dance.
But it's also about national identity, you see. This is the thing. You see, in colonial times, this has been a big problem. The American nation was superimposed on a genocide that happened in America, all throughout North and South America. The Native American Indians were 250 million when the Europeans came in, mostly wiped out, and superimposed with a European culture. And the European culture, left on its own, morphed into the American culture, you see. So there's been a huge move to get, where's the Native American Indian culture that was part of this land? There's been a bigger displacement, far bigger displacement in America than ever has existed in East Africa or Uganda. So we are more sophisticated in preserving the arts now, and I think that's a better chance that the beauty of the long tradition of the Bugandan kingdoms, all the kingdoms, all the beautiful long tradition of culture that has existed in Uganda, it will be revived again because we're more intelligent. We're not just going in and butchering people.
Yeah.
Let's hope. Anyway. Yeah. But that's the idea. So don't despair. Help is on its way.
Yeah.
We'll do what we can. You're doing your role, a very important role.
And that's the only thing that we can do. We can only do what we can do. And hope that, we don't lose it. We don't lose it.